Okay, so we're going to get class started here. It's our second class in module number 3. Things are a little different in this module because of Apple Day. Hope everybody had a good Apple Day as it would be. What I wanted to do was I wanted to start off, as the agenda kind of has it. I've posted the agenda in the first document, but I also have it on Blackboard just so you can kind of take notes as we're going along here. I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of attention in kind of cognitive psychology, and let's actually trace this back. So if you have a notebook or a computer, you can take some notes on these things. What was the first movement really in the realm of experimental psychology that we talked about in this class? You guys remember what the first movement was? Going back in the history realms of kind of cognitive psychology and psychology as a research field. Okay, don't all raise your hands at once. Bella, do you remember what it was? It was before behaviorism.
Structuralism? No.
Good structuralism. We actually, what's that?
Was it Wundt and his?
Wundt and the, what did we actually call that? There might be a more technical name for it, but it was introspection. So it was introspection. Now, somebody in the world of introspection, could they actually be interested in the realm of attention? They could be. Kate, any thoughts on if you were an introspector and you were trying to study attention and swallow your gum at the same time? What would you have people do if you were in the realm of attention and you were an introspector?
You could ask them how long were you looking at or spinning?
Yeah, how long were you paying attention to this? So visually, how long could you focus attention on this? If you were teaching a class, how long before you just stopped paying attention acoustically? So you could ask people that. What would be, Daisha, what would be the criticism of that from the behaviorists? Is that really science?
No, how can you tell if someone...
Yeah, that's really just kind of self-report and self-report bias. It's not really a really scientific way. What did the behaviorists think about attention? What did the behaviorists think about attention?
It must be observable.
It's unobservable, so what should we do?
Be able to observe it in some way and measure it.
Yeah, but would they be interested in measuring mental processes? No.
They wouldn't care.
The behaviorists would say, attention, forget about it, we're not interested in it. We can't measure it. And actually, in behaviorism, in Skinner's world, the observer is assumed to be just passive, and it's just the environment. So, paying attention or not. But then we went through those cognitive assumptions, and we can choose to pay attention, right? Or not. You can choose to listen to my voice, or you could choose to ignore me. So attention kind of became an important role. But what problems does the cognitive psychologist have in dealing with this? If we're interested in attention, what do we have to do?
You have to figure out how it works.
How it works, and most importantly, besides how it works, how to measure it. What are we going to do to measure it? And so if you pull up the first article that I actually have here, well, actually it's the Broadbent article. Actually, let me just share with you. And if you want to look as a resource at your Broadbent article, Broadbent actually came up with a few tasks. Actually, let me pull up the article for you here. Broadbent in 1958 came up with something known as a dichotic listening task. Has anybody ever heard of this, a dichotic listening task? What does dichotic mean? This was for acoustics. What does dichotic mean? Two ears. So what he would do is he would play out acoustic messages to people in both ears. And guess what he would ask people to do? Hannah, So 2 messages would be played out, a separate one in each ear. Guess what you think he would have people do with one of those messages.
Tell him what they heard.
Yeah, just repeat it back. So that was called a shadowing task. A shadowing task, which it kind of says somewhere in there. So a dichotic listing. So this was more research-based. Dichotic listing task, and tell people, repeat what was in the shadowed ear. And then he would ask people, can you tell me anything about that other ear, that unattended ear? Does this make sense to people? So you would listen to two messages and they would try to figure out what you would get in from the other ear. And he basically found that people weren't really able to get much of anything in the other ear. So he came up with a model that was called the early filter model, that basically you don't really get anything from what you're not paying attention to. You don't really get anything from what you're paying attention to. Now, I have a little task that's going to require a little bit of ingenuity on the part of the class here. From Brittany and Bella, in that way, I want you ladies to form a group. And what I would like you to do when your group, kind of standing over there, is to talk about what you did on Apple Day. And from Daisha over to Hannah, and including me, we're going to also talk about what you did on Apple Day. So I want you to pay attention to what your group talks about. Just have a conversation. Stand up. Get in a group. We'll get in a group over here. Never really done this before, so just bear with me. You folks want to stand up for me? That would be okay. So stand up and just start chatting with each other about what you did on Apple Day. And over here, we'll kind of do the same thing. So can you guys, and do it at just a conversational voice, if you would. So can you guys share with me? Lily, did you do anything for Apple Day?
Yeah, I went to the carnival and then had dinner with my friends.
So you went to the carnival, friends. Did you do kind of the same thing?
Movies with friends and went to the carnival.
So went to the carnival with their friends. Brittany. So did you do anything?
I slept until 11:30.
Slept until 11:30? Wow. Sam, how about for you?
I also slept in.
Slept in, as it would be. Yeah, I actually had an apple fritter down in Roanoke at the Higher Education Center.
Nice.
Brittany. Okay, let's stop the activity at that point in time. Everybody have a seat. So did we have a nice little conversation about what was going on? Yeah, everybody kind of shared some information and some details. I'm wondering, did anybody from the group on my left side of the class hear anything that was being talked about over here?
I heard my name a couple times.
You heard your name a couple of times.
The cocktail party effect.
The cocktail party effect. We were illustrating, as it says somewhere up here, the cocktail party effect. The cocktail party effect. The cocktail party effect was first demonstrated in 1953 by Don Cherry, I think was his name. And that actually, would that be consistent with Broadbent's? That was planned. But we've never actually done that before, so it was kind of mildly amusing or interesting from a scientific realm. How would that actually fit in with Broadbent's idea of the early filter theory? So in your group, you were all talking. What was that kind of mimicking? I mean, you were all talking about something. Were you really paying attention to what this group was talking about?
Not until I heard my name.
So your name got in.
Because it's relevant and, well, it's my name, so I want to know,
Yeah. So this idea of the early filter, that you don't get anything in, you could actually consider our group, and it's on the recording here. I did say your name. How many times did I say your name?
6.
Was it 6? I thought it was only 3 or 4.
It was a lot.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to really, I've never done that before, so might have been quite a few times to say your name And I kind of said it a little bit loudly too, didn't I? Because I wanted it to work. So the idea is, how would that work for this early filter idea? The idea that you were basically, our group was the unattended ear for you, right? So the idea that in the unattended ear, you would get in, wait, I heard my name, the cocktail party effect. Does that really work with the early filter model? I mean, your name. What are you thinking?
I don't think so, just because it basically was saying like you don't hear what's going on. That's not like your primary.
Yeah, you're not supposed to really pick up anything, so the fact that it was a semantic thing in your name was kind of the idea behind it, really wouldn't fit in with this early filter model. Other people came up with later filter models that said, we do actually pick up some information from the unintended ear. And so the cocktail party phenomenon actually posed some problems for Broadbent's early filter model. Now what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to stop the first recording here, and I'm actually going to have us listen to, I've got a little acoustic thing, a little YouTube video, and we're going to kind of take some notes on that. I've got a few of them today that kind of explain these filter models of things.